Okay, I am going to give you a short demo on how to empty your JP drain or your surgical drain. So I have 3 remaining. They are attached to my abdominal binder by a safety pin. So before you get started, make sure you have whatever tools you'll need. So whatever container you're gonna put the fluid in. Early in my recovery process, I did need this. There was a lot of fluid coming out. So my husband would do it for me. He would put it in here, measure it on each drain, and dump it down the sink. You could also use a smaller one. You'll also need your flow sheet that the surgeon gave you. You'll measure it depending on how much outflow you have. In the beginning, there was a moment on one of the bowls that had to be emptied 4 times a day, but I'm just down to 2 times a day now. Now, we want to remember that this drain is attached just by a safety pin. Some people have these cool little belts that they can wear that hold the drains. That was great when I had 7 drains just earlier in the week. It gave it somewhere to go, but now that I only have 3, I'm just attaching it to my binder. These are from my hips. So I'm gonna unattach the bulb, okay? And then make sure I take the safety pin out. I don't want it to puncture any part of this. Now you can see that there's fluid in the tubing, and I wanna get it into here before I measure it. So I have found that if I wet my hands and milk it, it's a lot easier to get it into the tube. I'm trying to do it with one hand to videotape, but it's not gonna work. So I just kind of pinch and push, pinch and push, pinch and push. You can see it's going into the bulb. Pinch and push, a little more water. That's what happens when it gets dry. So I'm pinching and just pushing it down. They call this milking. It's so gross. You may not get it all out, and that's absolutely fine, but you know, blood sometimes likes to clot and build up, so you don't want it getting built up in this tube, because then your outflow won't be the best. Okay. So now I'm ready to empty the bulb. So you can see here that there is a little valve. So you're just gonna open the valve and it's gonna reinflate the bulb itself. There are measurements on the side of this. So if you have good eyes, you can use this, or you can pour it into one of the little containers, put it flat on the counter and measure it from there. So I'm just gonna, this is about 15 cc's. I'm gonna turn on the water and dump it down the drain. Okay, once the bulb is empty, my tube got a little flat when I milked it. So I'm just gonna leave the valve open, and I'm just gonna run my hand down this tube again. Now I notice this has happened more the longer I've had this tubing. So today is day 12. The first couple of days, I think the tubing was good and strong. It didn't collapse. So you wanna make sure that there is good flow coming through here. Okay, now it's time to put suction back to this bulb and get it to re-engage. So what I'm gonna do, the valve is open at the top. I'm gonna squeeze all the air out of this bulb as much as possible, and then re-plunge it with this little top, push it in. And then you'll also wanna make sure that this tube is still really well attached. And then I'm just gonna release my hand. And then you can see that there is suction back to it. And then you can reattach it. Now you're gonna take your safety pin and try and use the same hole over and over again, so you're not recreating like a bunch of damaged material. You can reattach it to your binder or your clip or whatever you have. But I do have some tips here. You don't want this getting kinked. You don't want it getting kinked from where it's coming out of your body, or at the top. And if you just let this hang, it will get kinked. See how it's kinked there? If you just let it hang. So you want to make sure that you loop it back through this hole, okay? So I'm gonna take the tubing about 8 inches down and pull it back through the hole. And then now you can tell that the top is nice and flat. This is good and flat, no kinking. And then I'm gonna confirm at my hip that it's not kinked as well. So that's how you're gonna get good outflow. So make sure that you clean your hands again and also use a disinfection your sink. So I'll show you what I've been using. So I've just been using my bathroom cleaner. And so each time I have put it down the drain, I've just been squirting the whole thing down. I just squirt it all in the sink. I let it sit for a couple minutes and then I'll rinse it out. So that is how I've been draining my JP drains or my surgical drains. Make sure that you are putting down the readings. Early in the days of when I wasn't feeling my best, it was very messy. But this is what a blank one would look like. Here's what the blank one would look like. So record all volumes and CCs, keep a 24-hour total volume for each drain. If you need to empty it more than twice a day, make sure you're putting, littler times in here, littler measurements. You can see here how I had to just kind of get little. Look, at one point, I was in the 200s for one of my drains. Each day, it's getting less and less. Okay, well that's how I emptied my JP drain. So just to recap, make sure you wash your hands before and after. You can milk your tubing, just be very gentle with it. Draining it into a containers, or down the sink if you can stand at your sink. They do have some length to them, so you have the ability to do so. But I was early when it was just a couple days post-op. I had to sit in a chair at the sink and do this, or my husband would come and help me. So make sure you have your flow sheet handy, write them down. The surgeon will number each drain, so you'll be able to follow through, and you'll know which ones are producing more or less. I think that's it. I hope this helps you guys with understanding how to do your drains. I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. And my husband was taught in the hospital, and I was kind of out of it at the hospital. So I'm really glad that he paid attention. So awesome. If you have any questions, just let me know. Happy healing. Okay, so I have unhinged or unclipped all the drains from my left side. Now I just have to do the gross part and actually drain them. I've been sitting here for like 3 minutes and my back is literally killing me. And there has to be a better way to do drains. I feel like this is a little barbaric. Getting the little cap is difficult. Pouring it out is gross. Okay, I came into the guest room to get a little bit of privacy, but I repositioned my drains. So now I just look like I had a baby. So hold on a second. They're just hanging off the abdominal binder. Super inconvenient. There has to be an engineer out there that can figure out a better way for this to be done. This is just ridiculous. So you have to have like extra big pants to be able to hide them, or actually technically you're holding them up. Well, they're pinned in, but you're holding them kind of out in front of you and kind of hiding them because the kids don't want to see that. So So gross. Probably took me like 30 minutes to do it. My back is exhausted. I don't know what else to say. I'm a little green, a little yellow, I think just from dealing with it, but I really didn't get that much fluid out this time, so that's good news. So hopefully tomorrow when I see him, he'll give me an end date for getting them out. Hopefully by Thursday. Let's pray. Okay, I did all 7 drains. I am physically exhausted from sitting there. I went into a back spasm, so I just took a Valium. I have an ice pack on this boob because it's really hurting me right now. And we're going to catch up on Yellowstone, so end of day 6.